to the country. So the machinery that comes into
VAT at the port of entry. So therefore, in terms of managing the battery funds, they are not always having to pay huge amounts, which you just collect from one hand and give on the other hand. The other problem that we had with VAT was the reporting back mechanism that was put in place. So it applies to every company that was supplying to a reporting back agent that had been appointed by the government. Now the intention of reporting back was to capture those who were being paid VAT but not remitting it to the revenue. Now where we ended up, it was being used as a VAT collection mechanism.
Recording in progress.
Appears to be performing very well.
When actually it's because they were collecting VAT and they were not giving it back to the companies that were operating. I gave an example last week that if you supplied goods for 10,000 kwacha, they would withhold 1,600. Maybe on those goods your profit is only 500. So if they withhold 1,600, they're already making you and profitable and viable as a business because of the amount of withholding VAT that has been withheld, which the revenue was not even refunded on time. And so also what was known as VAT 18, where exports out of Zambia were performance of VAT. Highlighted the fact that
so that they can always they can bring them to the fore. So we do see that it will benefit from the perspective of companies that were not showing the correct VAT being brought into the tax bracket, because with this stock module under the smart invoicing system, you have to declare the correct stock, and from those stocks you do your sales. So we hope that with these measures put in place, if we let them mature, perhaps we'll see a better performance of VAT. And what we will remain dealing with is the historical accumulation of battery funds, which as you know has been choking the head.
Agreed with the sectors that have been highlighted to spur growth, which is agriculture, tourism, manufacturing. And then they are saying the business environment in Zambia faces several challenges, including high cost of doing business, limited access to finance, and regulatory unpredictability. Now, if you go down, you read, you find that there are different solutions to these problems you have highlighted. Is it possible that the Territorial Committee and through this committee, the government, have these issues that have been highlighted can be resolved, apart from the small write-ups that you do, because these are great and big issues that you brought out, especially regulator and profitability is a very big issue that is stifling a lot of businesses in this country. So how do we manage these things? How do we come out of these problems? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Zika. Yeah, I saw on the radio, and I just want a clarification from Zita, especially on the issue of value additional tax, VAT, and the issue vis-a-vis issue of smart indexing. Because in Zambia we like to talk about new things, and then we are not even sure on how to implement them. First and foremost, if you look at our tax base in Zambia, the largest is the informal sector. Okay?
Parliament is open to members of the general public who may wish to undertake familiarization tours of Parliament buildings, either in groups or as individuals, or to attend sittings of the House or parliamentary committees. All those wishing to visit Parliament can either write to the Clerk of the National Assembly of Zambia or simply come to Parliament buildings. Upon arrival at Parliament buildings, visitors are required to identify themselves. A passport or national registration card is required for identification purposes. All visitors to parliamentary premises are required to wear smart attire, either office or casual wear. Before gaining access to the galleries, all visitors are oriented and issued with passes by the Security Department at the Media and Visitors Center. Those whom permission is granted to sit in the galleries will be ushered to the appropriate galleries by protocol officers. Furthermore, visitors are not allowed to take with them into the galleries such articles as walking sticks, umbrellas, briefcases or parcels of any type, newspapers, magazines or cell phones. All such articles must be deposited at the reception desk. Visitors to the galleries are given copies of the order paper which shows the order in which the business of that particular day would be taken. You can follow all parliamentary sessions and committee sittings on GoTV Channel 28, Topstar Channel 5, DSTV Channel 272, Parliament Radio, or like the National Assembly of Zambia Facebook page.
So another part of the Jewish history of this town is in fact the Pioneer Tower behind me. That was funded by the Sussman brothers. They were amongst the first Jewish people to come to this country back in the 1890s. And once Livingston Town was built in 1905, they were amongst the first inhabitants. And 50 years later, as part of the celebration of their lives in this country, they funded the building of the clock tower. And of course it has a wonderful view over the falls, which we can see in front of us here, all the way down there. So it's part of the celebration, and 100 years later the Sussman brothers came back, and the Lutunga came from Barotseland to come and meet them. That is the prominence that this particular family had in this country, and of course in South Africa, because they left here, Livingston, to go to South Africa, where they set up in South Africa the company called Woolworths. So to this day the Jewish people have a strong influence not only in this country but in the sub-region. This is Nicky Iljon's shop. The Iljon family, of which there were various members of it, were one of the first inhabitants of the new town of Livingston, and this shop became one for selling bicycles and model aeroplanes. Now Nicky Iljon himself was the one who sadly closed down the synagogue when the last child had gone through there back in 1972. They then left here to go abroad after that. But behind me you can see there's a shop with pharmacy written on it. This used to be Sossi's garage. This was a man called Harry Sossen who married into the Sussman family, and he had the leadership of the Chevrolets back in the Northern Rhodesian days. And also, I'm pointing out over here, this tree is exactly where King George VI of Great Britain stood in 1947 in his visit to this country. Behind me is the Capitol Theatre, which today is the oldest cinema and theatre left in Zambia, and it was owned originally by the Grill family, and a young man married into their family, and his name was Harry Sossen, who we've talked about earlier. And this is where famous people in the world like Alfred Hitchcock and Danny Kaye came through to see films here. It was built in 1931, and beyond it is the yellow building, Stanley House, which is where they sold the finery to the local girls. That was dresses and all the rest of it as well. And then further down the road is a very famous intersection. This was the main intersection in town, and everybody in town knew it as Fix, Flax and Allfox Corner, after the three traders who were there. There was Sam Fix, who ran a wonderful dressmaking company. Old man Flax ran the haberdashery, like a hardware store, and beyond it was the Allfox family, and they traded in everything else. And the humour at the time was that these three business folk made all their money during the day and ran it across the bank, which is on the fourth corner. And if you look down the end, that's a lovely white building over there, which used to be Barclays before it moved across the road. The three shops behind me were owned by a gentleman called Elias Kapelowitz. Elias came from Latvia just before the First World War and traded with the local people further upstream. He used to paddle with his workers 40 miles upstream to exchange goods like beeswax and honey and things like that. And he then left here just after the First World War to go back to get a wife from Latvia, and they came through. Her name was Henny, and they ran the first completely kosher household in town. And they were very influential in here. They had an open house policy, and many Jewish people came through here. But their importance was recognized later on in life when they had both died, as their family received a letter of condolence from Buckingham Palace because of all the wonderful work they'd been doing for the communities, not just the Jewish communities, out here in the then Northern Rhodesia. And I think that's a great rubber stamping of the kinds of people we had coming over here in the early years. When the town of Livingston was built in 1905, provision was actually made for a synagogue to be built, and originally the site was where the St. Andrew's Anglican Church is today. But eventually in 1928 this site was taken over and the first synagogue in this country was built. The stone was unveiled by Eli Sussman, who later on left to go down to South Africa. But this is where they had a hall where they could all get together on the Sabbath and speak Hebrew and pass on all their traditions. The middle building was where the rabbi lived, and of course this here was the synagogue. And here we are at the Jewish cemetery, a place of great sanctity for the Jewish people. The first grave in Livingston town back in 1905 was in fact grave number 1 at the far end, Mr. Gelman, Abraham Gelman. This particular cemetery is now closed as the last Jewish person left the town. It was then closed up. But our traveling rabbi, Moshe Silverhaupt, came through, and with his work and guidance we've been able to get it to this wonderful level where people come through and visit the graves. It's custom in the Jewish tradition to put a stone on the grave as you go past. It's like saying, I've been here and I've left a message. And you can see the wonderful plaque we've had installed here, which just gives you an outline of the Jewish involvement in the area. We're now at what became the heart of the Sussman Empire. That is the Mulabezi railway line. They were trading in cattle and in timber by this stage. And so what we have here is a 2-in-1. This is the first railway museum in the country and the first Jewish museum in one.
The Jewish Museum opened its doors to the general public in September 2013, just to narrate the history of the Jews, those who settled in Zambia. They came a long time ago, in the early 1920s, most of them. They came through Zimbabwe from Victoria Falls. By 1905, coming up with the opening of the railway line, which gave them an opportunity to start trading along the railway line up to Congo. So some of them from Livingstone, they went to settle in Lusaka and Kabwe in the Copper Belt. Lusaka and Kabwe, then in the Copper Belt up to Congo here. So these are the areas where the Jewish community were able to settle. Why in the Copper Belt? There were already mushrooming industries that were able to give them business, like the opening of the mines there. They were also trying to bring some multi-industries along the line of rail, which gave them business. Now the coming up of settling this museum here is just to appreciate their contributions in terms of the local, their contributions to the local community, their contributions in terms of economic, social and political. So the history covers the entire Zambia. Otherwise it opened its doors in 2013 in September. So as we enter inside the Jewish Museum, we will be able to follow their chronological history. This was the first Jewish wedding which was conducted here in Livingston by the Anne Green family and the Harris Asmans in 1910. The first Jewish wedding in northern Rhodesia by then. Yes, otherwise all these activities, they are narrating the history of Livingston for the Jews that were settling here. You can see these were one of the early shops, which was for the Green General Outfitters in Livingston around 1910. You can even see. Unfortunately, these buildings are no longer in existence, but as for this one and that capital theatre, this one, when you go right to the center of Livingston town, you are able to see the building. So, it shows, it's just narrating the history of Livingston. What did they come to do? For how long? That's the history of the Livingstonians.
Tambiangula wa mulwa kawa musawa utamba kufama ya mbuta zikutambaroka na singwa kumutondo na sile ngwandati wambere nyati wambere ngombe munukasa wa mwambeli nabanaka kwanga nyina mumule ya mukati wa kukwala kwa katweze kumwambela imeki mwiye twende tali ambaye ngumela ndo iyo wayo wawesanela ndwa mbungwanye tena litilera manyerera ruina litilera omukungatanga ndwa maya wiru yotengetenyo musila kwalanga mungambaye mwana mukamba noyenyi tokunyendera twirunyendera mukungumba sita mwana lyambai wakutimona bali mwana mukowe wese kumwala kumiona mbo umufereji nyeje inyunyumanive uluyita ko utete tokuwaulwako kwaona lyondo vilona sile mandumba iwa nitundu vile njihini ngasino mene timeka munu wilu kisiwa na mbonwa na banakakongaita ena nyina kumuva kutongoka kumuyume na kutongoka wilu muna nungu mwero mukukandela wiye twende kakwisesi kana mbwera konji ngoma na lumino boi wakulitili ngoma watifulana tinaende mwenduko mukulo ipuwa kutombwela ineki changwe
Sabayo kama na kutetea manambo mwingi. Mwanangu kibaya mbavu zekera hawa ndara. Kukiwa na mzalumbe. Wenge.
Obviously the post is being controlled by Tim, with the flight line in the blazer and safety plug in the middle. Tim Cook is the founder of Georgian Safety, and the Cook family is a very strong growing family with Zambian roots. There's emergency scope and turn into elephants, requiring a lot of skill.
Okay, still no change in it, we still have South Africa in the lead, Oxford coming second, Cambridge lagging behind in third. This is South Africa's going to take the Victor Wadurum Cup this year round.
South Africa coming strong, Peter. South Africa coming strong. South Africa coming strong.
Here comes South Africa in very, very strongly. Sponsored by David Livingstone's Safari, Livingstone's Adventure. And coming up to the final, it's going to be an easy win here. Easy win too. At least for one thing, because Mr. Brink will never let me get away with it. Anyway, outstanding. Well played the Zambian team. Outstanding.
Zambia! The first thing to realize is that history repeats itself all the time. And what happened in 1910, the authorities back then brought the World Championships of rowing to this town. And it was a marketing coup, because you can only host World Cup events in peaceful countries. Okay? And the movement of investors into this country back then in 1910 was enormous. So, if we do it again, we should see it all happen, because these guys will leave here praising South Africa. It's been very peaceful whilst they've been here, naturally, because that's what they like. Very wonderful people, always happy and except in the low commanders. And we had an amazing traditional event yesterday, and His Majesty here. Now, if people go to London to watch the changing of the guard of Buckingham Palace in red tunics, imagine coming to see a wonderful barge over here on the river. Our problem is that Zambia is big. It's 4 times bigger than England. It's twice the size of Zimbabwe. So a lot of our events are so far away, it's difficult to get people to them. So we can bring them to the central focus, which is Livingston. It's got the Victoria Falls, the highest bridge in the world from 1905 at the time. All these wonderful other assets to it. And we can bring a little bit of traditional Zambia here too. Then my job is easy.
Come on, guys, give it more power. 1, 2, 3.
So as the ABSA Group, which is the parent company of Barclays Bank Zambia, we are delighted to have been involved with this Livingston Regatta as a mark of what ABSA promises to bring in the Zambian market. And this is a partnership in terms of how we want to support the different sectors of the Zambian economy. And so this is one way that we're supporting the tourism sector, because we believe that tourism is the future of Zambia. And with ABSA coming into Zambia, you can look forward to more partnerships, because we're building on the rich heritage, the 100-year heritage of Barclays has set for us in Zambia. We understand the Zambian market, and with ABSA and with the sponsorship that you've seen, better things lie ahead. And so Zambians can look forward to great things with ABSA.
Joseph Stali, the Vice Chairman of the Nkunikirio Market. As artists, we're always ready, and we know when we exhibit our products, of course, it will benefit us in one or another. There is a target, especially to us artists, because people, they come from different parts of the country and also of the world. So depend of which country somebody comes from, and also we know what they need.
My name's Kaputo Kafuala. I'm the secretary for this market, and a lot of people come at the falls, and what they normally do, they just come to the falls, then they go without supporting us as stereo traders. The main challenge is that they are not given enough time for them to have time to shop. I think that's the only challenge that we face as stereo traders.